Bible has a number of names in it for places for unsafe people after they die and things like that, such as hell, Hades, the abyss, and I believe there are one or two others. Now, the Bible makes it fairly clear that there's a difference between all of those, yet it's not too clear as to what that is. So what are all those places, and what are the differences?
Okay. There are a lot of them, different names. Basically, some of the problem we have, and I don't know did all of you hear that? I'm supposed to repeat the question. So what John asked was, there are different names for the abode of the dead. And there's hell, he mentioned Hades, he mentioned the abyss, there's also Tartarus. Sometimes you see the word Sheol. Another time in Ezekiel, repeatedly it's called the pit. And what are these? Also, there's lake of fire that is in Revelation. So what is the relationship between these? And I'll just do them one at a time. The pit that Ezekiel talks about is a literal location that the Bible tells us is the abode of all of the unsaved dead. Everybody that's ever lived is still here on earth. God doesn't transport them, out to somewhere in the distant universe. They're still here. And they are going to remain here until they're brought up from that pit. So it's called a pit. In Hebrew in the Old Testament, it's called Sheol. That is the abode of the dead. In the New Testament, Hades is actually Hades and Sheol are the same place. And the pit. These are all just different designations for the abode of the dead. Tartarus, on the other hand, that's from 2 Peter, and Tartarus is a prison only for bad angels. So that was, I noticed that in the emails. Someone said, they said, so there's good angels and really bad angels. And I said, yeah, there really are. And there are some angels that 2 Peter and Jude tell us are so bad, they did so much bad, so much evil, they're so nefarious, that God says, you are in prison under chains in the dark until judgment day. I'm never letting you out to mess around with the earth. Now, the abyss is also a prison, but this one is in Revelation 9, and this one is a temporary prison for the most destructive of the angels that God is going to let out in the tribulation. These never get out. The Tartarus ones, Peter says, are in everlasting chains under darkness until the judgment. The abyss angels are, it appears that just like there are archangels and cherubs and seraphs on the good side, there are levels of angels that God created, varying orders or ranks of angels. And the top angel period was Lucifer. And Lucifer, when he fell, became Satan. And under him, Michael. But Michael is not equal. Michael is lower, because Michael wouldn't even rebuke Lucifer. He knew how powerful he is. And in fact, Peter comments that only foolish people mock the demonic realm. Peter said they mock what they don't even understand. He said the most powerful good angel, Michael, wouldn't dare rail against Lucifer. Yet, I've seen people on television go around and kind of fight with the devil, and they don't even know what they're doing. But Tartarus is where the really, really bad never get out. They're in everlasting chains. The abyss is where really malignant, powerful angels are kept. They're so destructive, if God didn't keep them there, they would kill everybody. Hades is a place that just is, basically the abode of the dead. And then we have hell. Now, hell and the lake of fire are synonymous, and actually Gehenna is the word that Jesus uses in Greek, which is the valley of Hinnom, where there were worms. It's the garbage dump of Jerusalem. And what he says is hell is like the garbage dump of the universe, but in Revelation 20, it's called a lake of fire. And Jesus said that people, one by one, are cast into the lake of fire, but it says in Matthew 25 that it was not designed for humans. It was designed for the devil and his angels. But anyone who repeatedly denies and rejects Christ's offer of salvation will get to go where Satan and his angels are put in Revelation 20. By the way, the beast and the false prophet are sent to this lake of fire in Revelation 19, and they are seen at the end of Revelation 20, which is 1,000 years later. They're still alive and suffering, which means annihilation is a nice philosophical thought. Annihilation is that people that go to hell just burn up like a bug zapper, and God would not be so bad to make them suffer forever. But from all the biblical data we have, when two humans, the beast and the false prophet, are put into the lake of fire, they are still alive after 1,000 years. They didn't burn up. And so that's the differences in places. Pit, Old Testament, Sheol is an Old Testament term for the grave or Hades. That's just the abode where people are waiting, like Luke 16 talks about the rich man and Lazarus. The rich man was conscious, could sense, could remember, could feel pain, could see, could talk. So people that have died are still conscious, thinking, remembering, talking, but they're suffering. But they're in the vestibule, as it were, the waiting room. These three are the waiting room for this, for the final judgment, when everyone will stand and the books are open. Now these two, the abyss and Tartarus, are only for angels. And temporary holding, permanent holding.